What is going on? What is going on? It's your boy, Julien Stoutt, licensed personal trainer, licensed PE teacher, world record powerlifter, special education teacher, here to take the fear out of fitness. We're about to take off and class is in session. What is going on, Stoutsiders? How are you tonight? Sorry for the late start, but I unfortunately had a meeting and I couldn't quite go where I wanted to go. So I'm here now. So as I'm checking out the scene real quick before I get started, I just want to see what's up here. Cool. All right. So we are here. And what I'm dealing with right now is something that, despite what's going on in the world right now, Black people, to quote Stephen A. Smith, I understand he is in the doghouse with us right now, but for several reasons, but at the same time, he said he has a statement that he makes that pretty much is apt. When white people catch a cold, Black people catch pneumonia or the flu, right? And with that being said, you know, the unemployment rate went up by 1%. A lot of specifically Black women have been put into the unemployment line due to being fired from many government positions. And as a result, you know, things have been moving in a direction where people have been doing some internal, what's the word I'm looking for? Some internal searching about what they can do to survive. And then after survival, move into thriving, right? So tonight, I want you to keep in mind that while I am specifically talking about Black people, men and women, and children, this does not mean that this particular video does not apply to you. It's just that I'm making a specific focus because, statistically speaking, based on the data that is prevalent, we are struggling in this country mightily due to our health and our ability to function. Because one of the things that I would like to bring up before I go on is this: life expectancy. So for those of y'all who are not aware of what I'm talking about, based on all races in the United States, all races and genders, 78 years for 3 months. 78 years, 3 months, right? And as a result, that is all races combined. But what we start noticing is there's a discrepancy amongst races. And the lighter the shade, the more you have it made when it comes to life expectancy. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see that clearly, but let me make that bigger so that way you can actually see it. Make that bigger just for now. Let's make that bigger so you can read that, right? So what you're looking at is, let me move over a little bit. So white people live, all genders, regardless of gender, white people live to be 79.2 years old. Basically, let's say 79. Black people live to be 73, which is a full 6 years less than, and on average, mind you, we're not talking about, you know, lowest end of the totem pole versus lowest end of the totem pole, or highest end of the totem pole versus highest end of the totem pole. We are taking the average. And they are achieving a 6.2 year increase in their livelihood, right? Black to Hispanic is a full 7 years. Hispanic people are outliving even white people, which might explain our current political situation as we find it, right? And Asians are living a full 11 and a half years more than black people on average, whereas Native Americans and Alaskan Natives are living a significant 15 years, well, more like 5 years less than even black people. But if you look at lowest to highest, they are achieving a full on 16 years less life. Keep that in mind. And the reason why that is, and I'm going to explain to you why Native Americans are struggling mightily even compared to even black people, is because of the situation that they find themselves living on reservations or living in towns near reservations, because they are exposed more to fast food per capita than any other race in the United States of America. Just in Arizona, the borderline between Arizona and Mexico, there are literally American Indians and Mexicans who are genetic cousins to each other, and their longevity is dire opposites to one another. As a matter of fact, before I get into that specific one, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to ask it specifically. There is a Native American population that lives in Arizona, and their life expectancy is significantly lower than their Mexican cousins. What period? What is the tribe, and what is the difference in their life expectancy? Okay. The Native American population with a significantly lower life expectancy than its Mexican cousins is the Pima tribe of Arizona. Studies have documented dramatic differences between the Pima living on the Gila River Reservation in Arizona and genetically similar group of Pima in Mexico. Life expectancy difference. Research has found that a stark contrast in health outcomes between the two Pima groups. Mexican Pimas, these communities which have maintained a more traditional physically active lifestyle with low-fat diet, has significantly lowered prevalence of disease like type 2 diabetes and obesity. Arizona Pima, following major changes in their environment and lifestyle in the 20th century, including disruptions to their traditional farming, the Arizona Pima developed one of the highest recorded rates of diabetes in the world. While specific recent life expectancy figures for the Arizona Pima compared directly to the Mexican Pima are difficult to pinpoint, the health disparities reveal a major difference. In the mid-1990s, studies found that type 2 diabetes was 5 times more prevalent in the Arizona Pima than in the Mexican Pima. Obesity was dramatically lower among the Mexican Pima compared to their counterparts in Arizona. Case in point. The key differentiator is not genetics because they're genetically equivalent, but the environmental and lifestyle factors introduced by modernization. The health disparities are linked to diet. Arizona Pima shifted from traditional high-fiber, low-fat diet to a modern high-fat, energy-dense diet, fast food. Physical activity. The Mexican Pima continued a high level of physical labor for farming and household tasks, while Arizona Pima adopted more sedentary lifestyle. Economic changes, the cutoff of their water supply for farming forced the Arizona Pima to abandon their traditional subsistence agriculture around 1900. Okay, so here we go. The Pima situation also reflects a broader trends for American Indian and Alaskan Native people across the country. As of 2023, national average life expectancy for non-Hispanic AIAN individuals was 70.1 years. This is significantly lower than for the Hispanic individuals, which is 81.3. Okay? Read that. Move on, Julien. Let's go. So, I want you to listen to this woman discuss her feelings about what Black people need to do about their health. Ready? Like to hear it? Here it goes. Whoops, I'm sorry. My bad. Hold on.
Come on, tap in. Black people, I need y'all to start taking y'all health much more serious. 2 or 3 people, I think this is the 3rd person that I knew that has passed away in the past like 2 weeks, and all of them were health related. One of them was in his early 30s. We are not taking our health serious enough right now, Black people. This leads me to want to ask people if you all know about the life expectancy gap. So there is a group, there's an organization here in Chicago on the West Side called West Side United. It is led by my big sis, Aisha Jaco, longtime West Sider, born and raised. She is the ED of West Side United, and their goal is to close the life expectancy gap between the west side of Chicago and the Loop. So the Loop is downtown. It's our downtown. There is currently a 16-year gap between the west side of Chicago and downtown Chicago. Mind you, if we think about the neighborhood I live in, which is Austin, we are further west, right? So from my neighborhood to downtown Chicago, that's like 7 miles. And there's a 16-year gap. The age on the west side is, I think, around 69 years old. So they are, we are expected to live till around 69 years old, okay? While those...
Okay, I'm going to stop there for a second, because what we're discussing here is life expectancy and the clear discrepancy in the differences in the age groups. And because of that discrepancy in the age groups, it's alarming. It's not any type of years, anytime you have more than 2 to 3 years of age of life expectancy difference, it's a significant gap. 16 years in one city that is only separated by 7 miles is egregious. All right? It is highly egregious that somebody is 7 miles east of you. 7 miles east of you is living 16 years longer than you. You live in the same city. It's not like we're talking about LA versus Davenport, Iowa, LA, California versus Davenport, Iowa. We're not talking about Orlando versus Memphis. We're not talking about New York versus Buffalo, New York City versus Buffalo. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is literally a 7-mile travel west loses 16 years on your life. They're even below the national average of black people, which is 73 years. They're living to be 69. That's a significant gap just between the national average and what's going on in this particular neighborhood. That's scary. Okay? So there is people looking and seeking to identify and eliminate the factors that are creating these age life expectancy gaps. All right. So she just noted that in the last 2 weeks, she's known several people who have died. Most recently, the one that most recently died was in their 30s, and it's health related. I've done a video not too long ago about people who do mukbangs and they're dying at 28. They're dying at 32. They're dying at 35. They're not even seeing 40, and very few of them see 40 because they're eating a high level of high calorie foods for little to no reason outside of either monetary gain or their own personal enjoyment of what they're eating. Their sodium levels are ridiculous. You know, for God's sakes, just a little bit of insight. I got ragged on for not drinking enough water by my doctor. Turn around and claim that I might have stage 3 kidney disease only because I was not drinking enough water, significant amount of water. It gets that deep. They were worried about my kidneys because I wasn't drinking enough water. They're on me about my cholesterol level, which has always been high. My cholesterol level has always been high. And there's not much I'm going to do about it because ironically, and here's the funny joke, my cholesterol level is actually lower now than it was when I was 13. Okay, so I do take my health seriously. I do work out, but at the same time, I do recognize that I have a naturally high cholesterol level and my HDLs are 2 to 1 or 1.5 that of my LDLs. So I'm not as concerned because if you have a 1 to 3 ratio of LDLs to HDLs, you can be okay, if that makes sense. All right. So with that being said, let's continue with what the sister has to say.
People who live downtown live to be like 85. Let's talk about that. So today I completed my second 21-day fast, and this is the second one I've done in 3 months. And it was a conscious decision to do the fast so that I can start to eliminate certain things from like my diet and being more disciplined in my diet and what I eat, how I exercise, like just how I show up for myself, not just physically, but mentally too. I'm saying all that because I need us to really think about our communities and the conditions of it. Like, it ain't shit but liquor stores around here. The Arabs all own all of these gas stations and corner stores. They ain't serving nothing that's even remotely healthy. You couldn't go into one of them motherfuckers and buy an apple if you wanted to. Then on top of that, all of the restaurants are trash. There's nothing healthy around here. No grocery stores. It's not set up for us to be healthy. But you got to make a conscious decision, okay?
Sounds familiar? Didn't I just mention that about the Pumas in Arizona? Their whole, literally, if I remember correctly, let me go off my screen real quick. If I remember correctly, I think they said there is a fast food restaurant every 2 blocks. Let me see if I can find that video. I'm going to see if I can find that video. Okay. Okay, we're not doing that. So, Pima natives. And obesity. If I'm not mistaken, 60 Minutes did an episode on them. 60 Minutes. No. Let's go back. Let's see what this says. I want to see what.
Not just about exercise or healthy eating. It's about making the right choices for a healthy lifestyle.
We have to make the healthy choice the easy choice and the default choice. So it's just as easy to do something healthy as it is to do something unhealthy.
Anne Marie Medina is one of many in Pima County addressing the obesity epidemic. Her program at the YMCA, Activate Tucson, is one program benefiting from the federal stimulus money given to the southern Arizona county as a way to provide people choices for healthier lifestyles.
It's a community's responsibility to provide the opportunity to make positive choices, but it's the individual who gets to choose, who should choose, whether or not they want to pursue whatever lifestyle they pick.
As much as $147 billion per year is spent on obesity-related health care in the U.S. According to Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that's about $500 for every person in the country.
It's a horrible, horrible.
Just so you know, I did the studies on this. In the end, obesity and health-related issues related to obesity will cost you close to $300,000 in your lifetime. You personally are losing $300,000 of personal wealth, whether it be of yours or of your immediate families, due to obesity. Think about it. How much money you spend on medication annually due to obesity-related diseases, such as diabetes, high blood pressure, right? Your attempts on losing weight via, GLP-1 medications and things of that nature. Then on top of that, you add into the account of hospitalization due to a catastrophic event, such as a heart attack or stroke, cancer. You will lose $300,000 in the course of your obesity if you do not make monumental shifts early. But I digress. Let's keep going.
Crisis that we're in, and we're seeing that is what's really driving healthcare costs.
For some, having the government step in is how they feel the crisis can be solved.
I think, leadership plays a very important part of leading the people in the correct manner.
For others, It's about making their own decisions.
I don't think that the diet and making you eat what the government thinks is right, it's a good idea.
But what is turning out to be a good idea is that not only are the grants trying to get people to eat healthier, but they have also created 75 jobs in Pima County, which also helps people feel better.
Okay, so first things first. I don't think the government should make you eat healthy, but at the same time, I also don't believe that corporations should be able to run roughshod in a community because there was a demand. Hear me out on what I'm saying. Hear me out on what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, am I saying that the government should dictate that a McDonald's should not be in a community? Absolutely not. What I notice in the area that I live in, number one, there is no fast food restaurants within a country mile of me, number one. But even when I go into various parts of the city, depending on what part of the city I go into, I can instantly tell what's going on. I have seen literally within 2 city blocks, I have seen a 7-Eleven, a liquor store, and 3 fast food restaurants in one neighborhood. And then when I go into another neighborhood, which is more affluent, you will find a liquor store, a fast food restaurant within a mile of residential areas that you have to actually leave the residential complex to get to a bevy of restaurants. So I'll give you an example. So for my New York peeps, if you live on 161 and the Grand Concourse, right? You would literally have to drive. Note I said drive. You would have to drive from 161 to say, so again, that 20 city blocks is equal to 1 mile. So I would say you would now have to drive to 141 or 181st to get to not one restaurant, but a bevy of restaurants for you to actually enjoy, for you to say that you're going out of your way to go eat at a fast food restaurant. You wouldn't find one within a mile of you if you lived in New York. If you lived in a neighborhood, an affluent neighborhood where I live at. I don't live in an affluent neighborhood, but what I'm saying is if I go travel to an affluent neighborhood in the city I live in, you wouldn't find one within a mile of the complex. You would have to drive a mile just to get liquor. You would have to drive a mile just to get a hamburger. You would have to drive a mile just to get fried chicken, chicken nuggets, tacos. Even if it was traditional homemade tacos, you still would have to drive the mile. Or reasonably within a mile. I teach in an affluent neighborhood. And when I assure you, from the high school, I have to drive approximately a mile in order to get to a 7-Eleven, a taco shop, and a sushi restaurant, and a Philly cheesesteak restaurant, which is all within walking distance of each other. However, from the high school, which is surrounded by homes, I can't get to one within a mile. And if I decide to walk, it will take me minimum 30 minutes to get there. Walking takes me about 6 minutes to get through, 5 minutes just to get there if I drove. But it's a mile versus in New York, depending on where I live, I could get to a fast food restaurant. I could get, actually, no, no matter where I live, I could get to a fast food restaurant within 3 minutes of walking. Walk out my house, turn the corner, walk around the corner, and I have a convenience restaurant right there, or a bodega if that's what you, for those y'all from New York like I am, it's a bodega right on the corner. Maybe half a block from that, pizza shop. Maybe across the street from that pizza shop is a McDonald's. And God forbid is a Chinese restaurant, I'm sure, within one city block of you. And if you don't in New York City, where do you live? I'm just going to say, keeping it real with you, right? Whereas where I live at, I have to go a good distance to find a Chinese restaurant. There'll be two within a half a mile of each other, maybe, if that. And then I won't see another one for another 3 to 4 miles. If you catch my drift. So, it's by design, is what I'm saying. It's not an accident.
A sustained, lasting impact after the end of the grant on what might be the biggest health epidemic of our time.
And while there is just 1 year left on the life of the grant, those supporting this health initiative hope it helps save lives in Pima County.
Okay. So as a result, what I'm telling you is you have a unique opportunity as Black people learning from other races of people, specifically the Native American Indian, that something as simple as a border, which is Mexico and Arizona, changes your life expectancy by literally decade. But let's get back to my sister here talking about us as Black people.
But the fact that 7 miles shows a difference in life expectancy, that's crazy. Really just being able to enjoy life. We think enjoying life is drinking every time we do something. Or a lot of these drugs and people's way of partying and living right now is really catching up to them. And I don't know, bro. I'm seeing a lot of younger people, I'm talking about 30s, 40s, 50s, die for health-related reasons, Black people. And that shit is really things that we can control if we wanted to. It's a whole bunch of stuff happening out here that can help you in that space. I got homies that I'm gonna do a TikTok on. Shout out to Peace Runners, shout out to Westside United. Like people that are really focused on the health and wellness of Black people. So I'm gonna do more on my end. I'm already involved in both of those organizations, but I mean to share the information and to spread the word so I can make sure that y'all tap in.
Okay. So what does that mean? So here we go. What I'm saying is simple. First of all, I'm going to read a couple of these. First of all, they're saying stuff like, so I agree. At 38, I developed a blood clot out of nowhere, and the doctors still don't have an answer. Sedentary lifestyle could cause that. If you're sitting on your duff all day and your legs are constantly under compression, you could develop a blood clot, develop deep vein thrombosis, which is the precursor to a blood clot, which then causes you to possibly suffer a stroke or a heart attack. Okay? If your saturated fats are so high that your triglycerides are so high that you're turning your blood into ragu on top of that, not drinking enough water. Yes, I'm talking about me too. This is the type of stuff that'll get you in trouble. Overconsumption of alcohol is a part of it. Some of you drink so much that you turn your livers into fatty livers. Your body is not supposed to ingest so much alcohol. You shouldn't be drinking so much alcohol that it substitutes for water. That the only fluids you drink is alcohol. I understand. Trust me when I tell you. It says, hey, twin, you're beautiful. She is. I'm watching your videos and I think you would love Grits and Eggs podcast. He talks about the same thing you do, especially on his recent episode. Okay. So informative. Thanks, sister, because I have always been health conscious. I'm working on family and friends. So am I. Best preventative is knowing important numbers like blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar. Yes, blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, weight, body fat percentage. Not weight as in you weigh 190 pounds. I'm talking about your body fat percentage in relation to your weight. If your body fat percentage in relation to your weight as a female is over 27%, you need to do some work, ladies. Black women specifically. Yes, I understand. We are we as black people, we are thick. Some of us. And in the black community, we celebrate the thickness of a black woman, right? However, not every black woman is going to be thick. So just because you got a little badonkadonk back there and it shakes and jiggles when you twerk, doesn't mean that it was meant for you to have. What is your muscle density like? Now, when we turn around and look at your muscle density in relation to your body fat percentage, then we can make the determination of that you're thick. That is what thickness really is. Thickness is not just the fact that it jiggles every time you take a walk. Thickness is not the fact that it jiggles every time you shake your booty. Thickness is not jiggle because you have a size F cup breast. Because actually your size F cup breast might be a result of your high level of obesity. You might have been a natural D cup, but because you wilding out on the snacks, you got an F cup, but you think that because men appreciate it and look at it, that it's nice. Fellas, just because you weigh 195 at 5'4" doesn't mean that's what you're supposed to be. You might be fat. In other cases, yes, you might be actually thick because your muscle density is so much greater than your body fat percentage. So yes, you might be 195, 5'4", 195, and because of your genetics, you're a walking mini Hulk, right? And I'm speaking from experience. I got as heavy as 180 pounds. And when I tell you I was significantly bigger than I am right now, I was. But also, I couldn't run worth a damn. Not even up the block. I couldn't even run. I was right? I was struggling. Made me realize, boy, you better lose some weight real quick. You better lose that weight real fast. Because you... Then, most recently, after the end of the school year, which was very stressful for me at the end of that school year, I realized that I was pinching a lot more fat on me than I should be. My skin was itching, and that wasn't because I was taking showers. I could feel the fat accumulating on me because it's not meant for me to normally have. I'm not used to that. Got my behind right. I'm in the gym, boxing at least two times a week, if not 3. Hopefully, if I can swing it, maybe 4. But in all seriousness, now my abs are showing again. And when I say showing, I don't mean I got to flex to show them. They're showing right now. I had to start taking my health seriously. Do I eat the absolute best? No. But do I eat craptacular? No. Even when I eat high dense calorie foods, I add water to my diet. I might drink coffee first thing in the morning when I'm at school, but behind it, I'm chasing it with water all day. I had 2 bagels, which equals out to be roughly about 600 calories. But guess what? That was breakfast. I'm washing it down with lunch. I'm not planning on really hitting anything else too much unless I'm going to box that day. Then I will eat lunch that day for sure. If not, I'm fasting throughout the day and I will not eat again until I get home at night. If I'm boxing or I'm working out. If I'm working out, I'll eat lunch. But if I'm not working out that day, I have no intention of working out that day, guess what I'm not doing? And I'm talking about whether it's running, boxing, lifting, it doesn't matter. If I have no intention of working out that evening, or that morning, guess what? Not consuming a lunch. That is my form of intermittent fasting. Does intermittent fasting work? Only if you know what you're doing. Only if you know how you're manipulating your metabolism will intermittent fasting work. So with that being said, let me show you and reintroduce you to the variables of Cain, right? So the variables of Cain is simple. What we're looking at here is consumption, appetite, nutrition, and expenditure. Okay, that is how we get to the acronym Cain. So consumption is your food and your calories. What are you eating and how many calories are you eating? Appetite, how many times a day are you consuming? Is it twice a day? Is it 3 times a day? Is it 6 times a day? Then within that, what is the variable that you're manipulating to accommodate your appetite? If you're eating 6 times a day, your meals better not be 600 calories each. Unless you are an Olympic athlete, which means you need every calorie you consume, because without it, you are not going to perform to your absolute best. If that is not where you're at, walk away. Stop. 600 calories that's 3,600 calories. You don't need 3,600 calories a day. I box and I don't need 3,600 calories a day. And I would say, based on my calculations, roughly, and with my activity levels, I'm burning close to 1,000 calories per workout. So I usually lift weights. So I would run on the treadmill, lift weights, go box. By the time I lift weights, run a mile, and then go box, I've burned close to 1,000 calories between those 2 workouts, not including the rest of what comes with it, right? And I'm going to explain what that is here shortly in the expenditure portion of it. So food and consumption, we pay attention to it, right? Times a day you're consuming 3,600 calories is 600 calories per meal. You shouldn't be doing that. If you're doing that, stop. You're doing too much. Nutrition, quality of elements you are consuming, right? The quality of elements you're consuming: water, vitamins, minerals, protein, carbs, fats. What is the quality of what you're consuming? Is it crappy fats, trans fats, a high amount of saturated fats? That's a no-go. You should have saturated fats in your diet, but you don't need a crap ton of it. Okay? Carbs. What kind of carbs? Is it fibrous? Is it all sugar with no type of vitamins or minerals attached to it? If you're doing that, that means you're drinking empty calories. You're drinking your calories as opposed to eating them, right? Or you're just sucking down candy all day of every kind, chocolate or just confections, right? Water, are you drinking enough water, or are you just drinking fluids, beer, soda, wine, liquor, right? Then last but not least, your expenditure. How many calories are you burning per day? I don't even know how many steps I took in today. Let's see how many steps did I take in today. Let's see. Let's go to my activity log. I will tell you, I'll be honest with you, just today alone, How many steps did I take? So for just moving alone, I burned 422 calories today. I took 6,257 steps, a total distance of 2.83 miles. I climbed 3 flights of steps today. I think I climbed more than 3 flights today. Yeah, I definitely climbed more than 3 flights, but that's neither here nor there. So when we go into expenditure, what we call total daily energy expenditure, is the amount of total calories that you're consuming for the day, right? Then you have your first thing is your basal metabolic rate. Your basal metabolic rate is what your body needs for the bare minimum to function. The average person's baseline metabolic rate is usually anywhere between 1,200, anywhere between, not even go say as far as 900, from 900 to as high as roughly about 1,800 calories, right? Average, meaning just to function, you need anywhere between 900 and 1,800 calories. Then when you count in for your NEAT, which is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, this is the energy you burn just living, meaning you got up, you play with the kids, you folded your clothes, you washed some dishes, you cooked food, you went shopping, you carried groceries into the house, you carried your books from the house to the bus and from the bus to the school and all around school and back on the bus and back to the house. That type of stuff. That is what we call non-exercise activity thermogenesis, right? Then last but not least is your EAT, which is your exercise activity thermogenesis. This is where exercise comes in. The more exercise you do, the more energy you burn, and the harder the workout, the more energy you use. In conjunction with the other 3 variables, this is how one manipulates their weight and composition. So, for those of us who are struggling, with weight manipulation, you have to increase either your NEAT or your EAT, because your BMR does not change over just because you woke up. The only time your BMR changes is with an increase of muscle mass. With an increase of muscle mass is the only way you can increase your baseline metabolism. Without your baseline metabolism, if your baseline metabolism is low, then your total daily energy expenditure is going to be low as well. Does that make sense? Do me a favor and tell me in the chat real quick if you can hear me, because last time I did this video, it was a complete mute and I was terribly depressed when I realized that that's what was happening. So if you can hear me, give me a chat real quick and tell me you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a yes, I can hear you. Give me a 1 in the chat real fast if you can hear me. If you can't hear me, put a 2 in the chat. I would greatly appreciate it if you can hear this message. So obviously everybody likes to manipulate the amount of calories they take in. However, one of the best ways to manipulate your total daily energy expenditure is to actually build more muscle and increase your activity level. So that way, especially if you find changing the way you eat to be extremely difficult, and I'm not suggesting, now obviously if all you're eating is fast food daily, no, you're gonna have to fix that. You're definitely gonna have to fix that. If all you drink is soda, I'm sorry, you're gonna have, if of your 1 gallon of fluids, only 20 ounces of it is water, BS. You need to change that. You need to change that to at minimum a half gallon. Half of that needs to be water, right? Just to start, right? Because you're finding it difficult to change habits. But if you got to make some changes to your diet. But if you notice that the majority of your meals are at home, if you notice that the majority of the meals that you eat are well-prepared foods that aren't necessarily horrible for you, but you eat a lot of it, and it's because you're hungry, and when you're hungry, you eat. Let's say you're over-consuming calories by, let's say, 600 calories. You could make some food choice changes, but let's say traditionally, because you feed everybody and the average person in your household does in fact need those calories, what you can do is increase your activity level. Go to the gym, work out, walk longer, start earlier, walk, get home, do what you do, then walk again. Increase the amount of times you walk a day if you have to do something like that. I don't recommend too much cardio because too much cardio destroys your muscle density. And because too much cardio destroys your muscle density, it also kills your baseline metabolism, which is also a reason why when some people go through extreme dieting and extreme exercise, they then find themselves on the bad end of things when they start trying to live a normal eating lifestyle after that, because when they slow it down, because now they've reached their goal weight, but because they reached their goal weight, but they did not maintain the muscle mass, now they realize their baseline metabolism has suffered, and now they gain weight faster. This is how rebound weight gain happens, because you're so desperate to get this weight off, you're chewing up and destroying your baseline metabolism, and as a result of destroying your baseline metabolism, you then rebound because you try to fall back because you don't want to lose any more weight. Okay? Well, let me land this plane because it is about time that I come off, because I got to spend time with the missus and I got to eat my damn self. So, first things first, while this is not solely a black issue, I want you to understand that since I'm black, I want to address black people, because I personally feel that we can ascend to a new height in our awareness of who we are and what our health is. A discrepancy of 7 miles in Chicago grants you 16 years of life or demises you 16 years of death. Nationally speaking, from black to white, 6 years, black to Hispanic, 7 years, black to Asian, 11 years. It's something that we must all recognize and realize that we can do better. And I sincerely hope that with this information that I'm shining a light to you, that not that it's something new that you learn, but I hope that it lights a fire under you to recognize that you have the power to make these changes slowly and carefully, so that way you can be the best you. Guys, I appreciate your time. I'm reaching up on the 1 hour mark and I don't want to go over an hour. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as TikTok. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers, so don't forget to click that subscribe button. God bless you all. Have a nice night. Be the best you.